Content warning. We have fun and laugh a lot during the process of making this podcast, but some of the movies we watch have adult situations. That means we may use language that isn't suitable for children, as well as topics that could be triggering for some. We want you to enjoy our podcast, and that means taking care of yourself and feeling safe. Thanks for listening.
Hey, welcome to another episode.
Hi.
Hey.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't stopped. We were refusing to stop. We're going to keep going, and you're welcome.
Cannot stop, will not stop, as the saying goes.
I'm Z.
I'm Keith.
And we're doing a podcast about...
And together we're...
No.
No. I just threw my phone accidentally.
It was... You caught it, though. You caught it. You absolutely did.
It was so close.
You
Folks.
did. I just watched your hand just like jerk and it went flying. But the other hand caught it. So that's...
The other hand jerked in response. It's one of the...
You do, yeah.
Newtonian laws of physics.
You have a very a knack for...
I have a lifetime of being clumsy that I've developed.
I will just because it's my favorite story to tell.
Oh boy.
I will tell the story of when I went to see you at work when jobs were a thing. And it was Halloween. So you were dressed.
Right.
You were dressed as Captain Kirk. Oh God, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. You were dressed as Captain Kirk, and you were holding.
Just to clarify, I wasn't specifically dressed as Kirk. I just had an original series era gold uniform shirt. That was the extent of the costume.
That's fine, but I will call you dressed as Kirk because I think that's what you look like. Anyway. You had a cup of coffee, and it was when we were first seeing each other in a romantical sense, and I came to see you at work because I was incapable of not just hovering. You got a cup of coffee and you went on a break, and we went outside and you you're holding your coffee, and I guess it was full, and some of it leaked and spilled on your hand, and it was hot. And there was a table right next to us. Instead of setting it down on the table,
No time.
you threw it at a toddler.
It wasn't my intention to throw it at anyone. There just happened to be an adult with a
small child
walking by.
And yeah, and it was not a directional throw. Your hand shook so much. And you were just like, ow, ah, and eventually gave up on trying to steady your hand and just threw the cup.
Uh-huh.
And it just happened to be in the direction of a mother and child. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. It's been 5 whole years plus a couple months, and that story never...
It's the one story that doesn't involve me shitting myself that still is a family favorite. The best part for me was that once I realized in horror what it looked like was happening, that I was throwing a scalding cup of coffee at a child, I said, "Oh my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry." And the adult just grabbed the child close to them and started walking much faster. Didn't say anything.
Yeah, no response other than like, "Get the hell away from my kid," which is hilarious. Oh my God. Ooh, that was good times. Yeah, so we watched the film Copycat.
1995.
95. Okay, I couldn't remember which year. There will be spoilers. We're going to spoil the whole movie for you. So if you haven't seen it yet, stop the podcast right now. Go watch Copycat. Or if you don't care at all about it, just listen to us spoil the entire thing.
I mean, you can assume there will be spoilers. I don't think we'll
everything we ever. And here's the thing, though. I feel like the majority of what we watch is not going to be something that's like from last year. It's going to be like old ass shit that probably no one cares about. That we're like, hell yeah, we watched this, like the movie Copycat.
Yes.
I saw this movie. I was remembering this earlier. I was like, I saw this movie when I was.
I'm already getting antsy because we haven't done any credits.
We haven't done it. They don't need to know who's in it just yet. But I remember when I was a kid. I was a very sheltered loser kid, and I was.
What was that like?
It was great. It was great. I grew up not at all traumatized. So
sounds lovely.
As a kid, like we didn't have cable at all. Like we lived in the middle. I lived in the middle of nowhere, and legitimately, like this sounds like a line or something, or just like a story, but like legitimately, we could not get cable where we were. Like they just, I mean, like I think some of, like I don't know, like we tried, like there was no like direct TV or anything like. There was no option for anything like that. I know that people around us had like basic cable, like the box.
Were there any satellite dishes in your neighborhood?
No, I don't think that I don't know. But I had an old TV and we had an antenna that we would have to manually adjust with our hands.
Some full on rabbit ears?
To be able, no, not rabbit ears, like outside, like
outdoors,
a giant
big old
ass
aerial.
Antenna that I would have to go outside and like someone would be inside watching the TV and you would physically be turning the antenna. And someone inside would be like, okay, stop. Yeah. Go back a little bit. Okay. So this is how we watched a lot of TV. And there were like 4 channels that came in clear and like a couple channels that were just like super fuzzy. But I like what?
This is personal
trivia.
Yeah. For me, curiosity. Where did you get major network affiliates? And if so, what city were they out of?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, did you have WNBC out of Orlando or something?
No. It was just like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't remember any of that stuff.
Okay. That was just for my
It was just like NBC, CBS,
right.
ABC, PBS. We got PBS. I was a little fuzzy, but that one came in kind of clear. Here's the thing. I remember the channels that they all were. It was Channel 2, Channel 6, Channel 9, and then Channel 18 was the
PBS?
WB.
Oh.
Until Channel 3 was PBS. Channel 18 was WB. And I think...
Was 2 CBS?
Yes. No, 2 was NBC. 6 was CBS. 9 was ABC. 18 was the WB. It eventually turned into the CW, but I was young enough that it was...
CWB.
And then
Content
Channel
Warning
44,
Brothers.
Channel 44 was UPN.
Content Warning Brothers. That's what we should call the pod.
So anyway, so I was very sheltered. I didn't have cable. Like we'd rent movies every now and then, but I was still like, we were very, like my parents were really strict. I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies, etc. So Saturdays on the WB, they would play movies all day. And 35 was Fox.
Why
are
they so high up there?
I don't know. But anyway, so on the WB usually, sometimes on Fox, they would play movies all day.
And so I loved Saturdays because I got to watch movies, and I would just like Saturdays were my favorite day because I could watch movies all day. And sometimes if my parents had like obligations and I didn't want to go to them, sometimes I was allowed to be alone. So I could be at home alone watching movies all day. But, you know, they were on TV, so they were all edited. And that's how I saw Copycat, was that I watched it on TV on a Saturday. I don't know if I was alone or not. I don't remember.
Once we get to a film that you saw on via this format, you'll have to talk about your grandpa's friend.
I was trying to think if I have any left over, because we watched like Speed and True Lies, which were the big ones.
Oh, we've just watched all the movies you saw that way.
I think so.
Already?
I don't know. But yeah, when I was a kid, my grandpa had a friend who had like oh god, what were they called? Like a
VCR.
Well, yeah, but it was like where you could record like from a VHS to a VHS.
So we had 2 VCRs?
I don't know. I think
he had some way to dub.
Yeah,
dub
basically, yeah.
cassettes.
But
VHS.
He would do it like he would self-edit them. So like he would, if like I recently watched the movie Speed unedited by my grandpa's friend Sonny, who would just edit everything down and like remove all the curse words and stuff.
So you had never seen the theatrical?
So I've never seen the theatrical version of Speed, and there were so many things. I was like, this movie makes so much sense now that all the curse words haven't been taken out of it. I wouldn't go that far. Well, yeah, but like,
I'm so sorry.
I don't.
That was so explosive in my headphones.
Scare you. But yeah, the way that so Speed is a completely different film when it hasn't been given the Sonny edit to remove all curse words and all like. But it would even like he would even go as far as if he thought something was inappropriate, he would edit it out, even if he didn't necessarily know what it was. Like if there was like a joke he didn't get, I think he would assume it was inappropriate and he would just edit it out. So, because there were like times where he would edit something out and I'm like, there's nothing in there. Or like he would anticipate that there was going to be something and there wouldn't be. So he would just take that chunk out of it. And then like later I would see it and I'd be like, there's nothing in there. So, yeah.
I like the idea that he was doing it live, just watching it and pausing like he was doing like it was a radio broadcast and he was just hitting the beep button, you know?
Yeah.
Did he do this just for your Gramps and his family, or did he do it for other friends?
I don't know about. I don't know about that. Like here's the thing though. Like he lived like far enough away that like my grandpa would like, it was like several hours of a trip to go see him. So my grandpa would like give him a list of all the movies he wanted.
Nice.
And so he would go through and he would record like the list of movies for my grandpa.
This is basically what I would do with music with my friends. My two friends.
You would edit them out, all the curse words out.
No, I would say I would give them cassettes and say, please dub this album that you have, this CD
but
you have.
But that makes sense. I mean, like, it's one thing to be like, I want
They
a
also
copy
lived
of
8
this.
hours away.
But kidding. Like, I mean, I do that too. I literally will like come in. I just this morning was like, give me that movie that you have. Because I want you to. So I still do that. But I feel like that's
more about
different.
laziness than access.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I think it's
not
fine
to call you
be
lazy.
like.
I just mean that's fine. I'm not.
No, but like, listen.
Okay.
I'm saying, if you're saying like, hey, you have access to this, can you give me that? It's one thing. But to be like, hey, can you special edit these 6 movies for me without all the curse words in them? I would love it. Thank you so much. That's a weird fucking thing altogether. Like that's like basically being like, hey, I want to see this movie. Can you do a YouTube edit that cuts out all the important scenes and just post it online on YouTube?
It's like a reverse super edit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not instead of it's what's left over when it's every time somebody tells Bruce Willis that he looks like shit.
So,
Copycat, 1995.
Yeah. This, just to clarify, I saw this on TV. I did not see this with a Sony edit or Sunny edit. Sony.
Don't sue.
I saw this off TV. What something that like struck me though is that when I saw this movie as a kid, I mean, I did see it on TV, which does, with commercials and like them doing the thing where they're like, mother, brother, instead of, like all the edits that they do, like maybe that affected it. But I was under the impression that this movie was like absolutely cheesy and not like good in any way.
That makes sense with some of the performances.
Well, yeah. Well, see, but like going back, I'm like, this is not the hilarious, ridiculous movie that I thought it was as a kid.
No, but it makes sense if certain elements are taken out or down to.
Yeah. But like, oh God, the best part, like the one line that has stuck with me, or not line, but like the one scene that has stuck with me is basically how it opens with Harry Connick Jr. being like some serial killer. Harry Connick, what?
I don't know who they're playing.
I don't know who's he supposed to be? Are you gonna do some credits now so that you can tell us who was in it?
May I?
Yeah. Yes, you may.
I didn't actually write these down, so I'm gonna.
Oh, you gotta IMDb that shit.
We have Sigourney Weaver as Helen Hudson.
Not Helen Hunt.
Correct. We have Holly Hunter as MJ Monahan. Marmot Mahoney as Reuben Getz. Dermot Mulroney.
Oh.
William McNamara plays Peter Foley. I did not recognize him.
Who?
The guy who plays Peter Foley. Anyway. So Holly Hunter is a detective, and so is Mulroney. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if they're detectives.
There's
they
something.
Don't wear uniforms.
Yeah, the plain clothes or whatever.
SFPD.
Oh God.
They should have just broken into FBI headquarters.
It's true. Throwback to Desperate Measures.
Oh, and Harry Connick. We got
Harry Connick Jr.
His character is David Lee Cullum.
Oh yeah, David Lee Cullum, who's I guess a serial killer or something. I'm not quite sure. Who breaks out of prison or something. I can't remember. And so Sigourney Weaver has a like detail, and she's going to the bathroom like while she's at a conference. So the detail is like waiting outside for her or something. I don't know. And Harry Connick Jr. as the guy.
Sigourney Weaver's character has written. She's like a forensic psychologist or something, and has written books about serial killers.
Yeah, she's very well known in the community of serial killers as being someone who knows about serial killers professionally. So but I think she testified in court for Harry Connick Jr.
She's called as an expert during Cullum's trial.
And anyway, so
during which he threatens her.
And this is how the movie like starts, is that she's just like at a conference and going to the bathroom. Fetish alert. And oh shit.
Boing.
Sorry. I was just like, let me move my coffee cup and just like smashed it into the mic. You're welcome.
What do you mean?
Anyway, yeah. So she goes to the bathroom. Harry Connick Jr. is there, and he's like, I don't know, he like strings her up in the bathroom stall, and then her security detail comes in and Harry Connick Jr. And this is what I've never forgotten this. This scene is so funny to me. It's hilarious. I think it's even available like on YouTube if you don't want to see the whole movie. You just want to watch this scene. He grabs the cop and he's like,
"What are you doing with my gun? Huh? How'd you get my gun? And what are you doing in the ladies' room? Are you spying on those girls again?"
What are you doing in the ladies' room? And then he says,
"What are you doing with my gun?"
What are you doing?
He's speaking for the cop. Is what he's doing.
No.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, I thought he was saying no.
How did a fart knocker like this getting?
Right. No, but he says, "Are you just in here trying to peep on people or something. I think he's literally talking to the cop because he says, "What are you doing with my gun?" And then he takes it from the cop. So he's saying it like, I don't know. But that's the thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And like, you're supposed to be scared of Harry. And he's also got makeup on to to make him look like he has acne.
Yeah, and he's got like fake fucked up teeth.
Yeah, he's like,
and red hair for some reason.
Yes, but yeah, he has like red hair and so that's how the movie opens. So it's hilarious. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Sets the tone.
And you don't know like how he gets away. It's just like then it's like a year later, Sigourney Weaver's housebound because she's agoraphobic,
yeah,
and like
point.
They don't ever tell you how she got out of that situation. They just like they're like somebody walked in on the whole thing, and that's the only thing that. And I'm like, okay, but why didn't they get killed? What? Like, and like there's no real explanation on how she gets away, but she does. And then the actual movie starts, which is just there's a copycat a serial killer that's like God, did you say spoiler?
I was going to.
And then you remembered the
and then
whole
I just
nothing. Yeah. So then the rest of the movie is just them.
All right, there's your synopsis.
So
okay, we're gonna take a break real quick. Be right back.
So just them going after this guy who's a copycat serial killer. And like Harry Connick Jr. is the best part of it though. Every scene.
Whoa.
I went there. I mean, like comedically, like every scene with him is hilarious.
All two or three of them.
Yeah, like there's literally just like 3 scenes with him in it. They're all ridiculous. And it's all like he's so comedically not scary and like not believable at all as like anybody that would do any. And I don't mean like, like that people that cause harm, like you can tell. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like I would be surprised that someone that's like a serial killer is the one that's like, I gotta make all the jokes in every conversation I have. And I have to make sure that I'm the guy everyone's looking at. I don't know. I think
Have you never heard of the Joker?
Who dat?
I decided that Connick is doing Ernest, the Jim Varney character.
Right. No, that's...
That's basically the tone of it.
Yeah.
Like you expect something to fall on his head or...
Oh my God.
His hands will get smashed in a window.
Ooh.
Or to mug to the camera and say Vern.
He'd go,
That was a visual gag. I'm sorry.
He does the lip. Where
The
he
classic, like moving the jaw back and forth. This movie was directed by John Amiel, who also directed The Core, which I haven't seen. Netflix really wants me to see that.
It's like 3 hours long, and
Jesus
it's
Christ.
just, I think it's like 2.5 hours, but it shouldn't be. And so yeah, that's all I remember is that it's long.
He also directed Entrapment.
Yeah.
One of the movies that famously set the tone for laser mazes, as we call them, as he has
I think that's
coined the term.
I don't think I made that up, but it's a maze made out of lasers. That would be a laser maze. I don't think that I'm the one that invented that phrase.
Okay, but
Google laser maze and guess what you'll see images of? A laser maze. So fuck off.
that's fine. I just never heard it before.
Then say
I
that.
think it's sort of misleading as to what their intention is. Like what? Maybe not.
I don't. Yeah. I think you're just. I think you're the one that's confused.
That's fine. I'm often confused. Also, tune in tomorrow, which I've never seen, but I want to because it's supposed to be really good.
You've never seen what? Sorry.
Tune in tomorrow.
Oh, I don't.
It's about radio serials, or it's set in that world.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's a lot like soap dish.
Is Michael Keaton in it?
I don't believe so.
Oh,
It's got
I'm less interested.
It's got what's his name to play Columbo?
Oh, Peter Falk.
Yes.
I know names. Just kidding.
In which he's a writer on these serials, and he just always drops in these jokes about Albanians.
Oh God. Since you're doing credits,
Yeah.
I wrote down because I do want to say that when we started this movie, I took an edible, and I did not think it was going to kick in as soon as it did. So like not even halfway through, I was enjoying the movie a lot. But I did write down.
Would you recommend that?
No, not necessarily. I think it'd be enjoyable even without
Okay.
Legal marijuana. It's legal where I live, so just to preface that. I did
what a
write
humble
down,
brag.
I know. It should be legalized everywhere, and no one should be in prison for weed. Just to clarify. Anyway,
the opinions of Z do not necessarily reflect that of the pod or the podcasting platform on which this may or may not ever be on.
But anyway,
but they do reflect my opinion.
That's yeah. And since you're reading credits, I did write down while I was stoned, Holly Hunter in the role of Jodie Foster.
Yeah. It
It's
basically
very, very
seems
clear
like
that
she
they're
got
like-
cast in
Yeah.
this because of the success of Silence of the Lambs.
They're like, we really need a tiny woman to be a tough
A
cop.
tough.
And Jodie Foster said no.
Right.
Who else can we get?
Now you're on administrative leave pending an inquiry. Your friends are wondering if you're a psychopath, and on top of that, the guy's junkie wife's hired a lawyer who slams a wrongful death action up your tail.
Holly Hunter it is.
I gotta say, in the last year that we've watched a bunch of movies, it's the most I've ever seen Holly Hunter in things, and like I
Yeah.
maybe only ever saw her in like The Piano before.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not true, but
Yeah.
I have
She's
new
been in
respect for
other
her.
things. Yeah. She's
Yeah.
been in things other than The Piano. I
I
can't
thought-
name any of them, but I know she's been in things.
Well, she had a smaller part in The Firm. That
Oh
we
my
just watched,
God, that's right.
which
Oh,
is great.
man.
A great
Yeah.
character perk.
A great character. The Firm, painful film.
Woo!
That, I mean, like 30 minutes, it's like a 2-hour movie, and 30 minutes in, I felt like I'd already been watching it for 3 hours, and
Yeah.
I still had so much more to go. And
I blame Tom Cruise.
Nothing, oh, that's fair, but nothing actually happened. And it was so painful. The only good parts in it were Holly fucking Hunter and David Strathairn, if I'm saying his name right. I don't know how to pronounce names.
Ed Harris.
He was okay, but
I
like
know.
there was nothing happened with
I know.
anyone.
Well, that's the thing with these Grisham movies.
Oh my God. Yeah,
The Pelican Brief was
I fucking
Better,
obsessed over that movie as a kid. I watched that movie so many goddamn
know.
times. I'm sure part of it was because Jake Weber was in it. But
We also watched The Client, which was far more enjoyable
that was
than
good.
both of those.
I liked The Client a lot. And that one holds up. I was like, oh, this is actually a good movie. But The Pelican Brief, and I didn't think The Pelican Brief was a bad movie to clarify.
So weird.
But I rewatched
Does
it
not-
as an adult, and I'm like, what the fuck in my little kid brain was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my fucking life,
Yeah.
and this 9-year-old needs to see it 70 million fucking times. Like, I would literally be like, they'd be like, we're going to the video store, what should we, and I'm like, please rent The Pelican Brief. Movies that I made my parents rent, like, probably, like, more than anything else. Dune?
Really?
Oh my God. Like I have a very clear
First
memory
time hearing of it.
of going to the movies and then being like, okay, you get to pick out a movie this time, because they'd rotate who would get to pick out a movie. And they were like, okay, you get to pick a movie out this time. And I was like, Dune. And I literally remember my siblings being like, fucking no, stop, please. And I was like, I want to see it again. And like, I remember like, it was I think before we got like Blockbuster in town, and so it was like the family like
Nice.
rental place that was like owned by like somebody, and the whole
A
thing
family?
smelled like that salty buttery popcorn.
Oh.
They had like a popcorn maker in there, and like
Nice.
so the whole thing just smelled so strongly of popcorn. It was like there like it didn't matter where you were in the entire tiny video store. It just reeked of buttery, salty, ridiculous popcorn. Like that cheap kind that you get at the fair. Oh, it was amazing. And I have like such a visceral memory of being like, Dune. And I remember like the aisle I was standing in and them just being like, no, not again. And I also did that with The Pelican Brief and with The Last of the Mohicans. Those were the movies that I would those movies I constantly rented. And again, as an adult, the only like as a kid, there were so many. I loved The Last of the Mohicans, probably because it was these. Also, to clarify, The Pelican Brief and The Last of the Mohicans are both rated R films that I was allowed to see as a kid. So that's part of why I was obsessed with them.
Sure.
My family for Christmas one year bought me The Last of the Mohicans.
Oh.
And everyone was like, oh, okay. Okay, well. And then I think that's when like I switched to The Pelican Brief, maybe. Renting The Pelican Brief so much. They were like, oh, good. Oh, good. We get to see it all the time now. Right. We don't have to wait for special occasions when Z is allowed to rent a movie and picks one we fucking hate. Anyway, so I forgot. That was a lovely little tangent that I went on about movies that I don't even remember why. Oh, because boring.
Oh, it's my fault.
It's fine. But yeah, Holly Hunter's in this. Playing Jodie Foster. Also, a fucking...
Clarice.
Oh, God. Oh, so there's one scene where they're at... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Remembered that I would say one of the characters of this movie is the technology, because it's full of mid-90s early internet and bullshit computer displays.
Yes, I wrote down there's an amazing scene where Sigourney's trying to she's trying to bait the killer, and so she edits this photo with her face and like a skull face
onto a bride.
Yeah, a bride and groom. She edits her face on a bride and like a skull face or something on a groom. And then she says the name of the killer and she's like, I'm ready for you or something like that. Or like, let's do this or something. And like to bait him, which he's already like planning to come kill her. So I don't know why she does that. But how she gets it to him is she just clicks the option to send all. And I'm like,
in whatever program
I'm like, what? Is it the whole internet receiving this? Like, what? Send all what? Like, it wasn't clear if it was even an email.
Well, it wasn't reply all.
No, it wasn't reply all. It was send all. Send all. And I'm like, okay, one, he's already sent you a message. He's already sent you an email, so you can just reply to him directly, I think. Two, his house just burned down. His house burns down. How is he getting this email?
Had that happened already?
I think so. It was like in the during that happening or something. Maybe I'm wrong. But still, also, I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand the technology. Like, anytime I go back, I'm like, I'm always, what was that face?
Oh, I can't read my handwriting. Sorry.
That's what I wanted to know. I wanted confirmation that that's what you were responding to. What's that? Wait, what is that? Class down?
No, the first word is chess because it's the name of the chess program she's playing.
Oh, shit.
Like Chess Dawn, maybe.
Oh, man.
She's playing online chess with somebody who, by the way, their screen name is Checkmate. But like Czech is like, as in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
And the killer sends her a video file.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And it's called tomorrow.avi. So kudos for the realism on the codec.
Right.
On the file extension.
I mean, I think they didn't have many back then, did they? I don't know. I didn't have computers back then.
There were definitely fewer.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't know Abbeys were that old.
Interesting.
Not that I know a lot about that.
I feel like whenever there's technology and stuff like that, and like I feel like one person in like the writing team was like, I know about computers, and like wrote something about it, and they're like, yeah, I like computers. And then everybody that's like set design,
it's Unix. I know this system.
Yeah. Everyone in set design is just like, I don't know what that is. And so they just are like, we're just going to have a lot of monitors set up.
Yeah, right.
Just to show that they are a computer. Because she's...
It's the opening or introduction. Not our introduction. Sorry. Once we
establish that she's survived Harry Connick Jr. Verbally berating a police officer with quips. Once she survives that.
That's what she survived. Not being hanged. No, when we are brought into the present
I hope
tense,
that my back cracking just now makes the sound like transfers. Anyway.
Me too.
Go on.
It reminds me of the beginning scenes in The Net. Which is within a year of this movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I think The Net is like 95 or 96. Oh my God.
What?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about The Net. But yeah, like I feel like, I mean, it's always really, really interesting because I feel like technology in the 90s was kind of one of those, like, not everybody had it.
Right.
So it wasn't an accessible thing. So it's often like rich people or people in specific fields, which is totally fine. But like...
Also the technology, it made me think of the technology in Bone Collector. It's pretty great.
Oh my God, yeah. I love it because it's very stylized and very, and like at the time you were just like, whatever, who cares? I don't know anything about computers.
It turns out to be a very specific subgenre.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
But like, I think that they were like, they expected it to be niche forever and for like only...
That's for the editor.
Boom. And for...
I heard it through the mic stand.
did it hit this?
No.
Oh,
it hit the...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway. Oh, it's like they expected it to be niche forever. Like they never thought that technology would advance enough to where everyone would have access to it. So like that's always like the attitude in these is like, oh, someone, like only a nerd would have a computer. Like only, like all of these things that are like literally everyone has a computer now because we all have phones with internet capability.
You think that's it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that was the intention by any means. I'm saying that was a thought like that there was like not an understanding of how technology would evolve.
As I like to use an example, if you watch Tron now,
oh my God,
everyone has such such generalized knowledge of computers that far surpass the basic premise of how that movie works.
It's like that. There's that episode of Archer. There's that episode of Archer where he it like goes into the jungle and he finds that guy from like, I don't know, World War I or something. I don't remember.
2. Okay,
World War II. I'm bad with world wars. With remembering. They were both real bad. I know that. So he finds the guy and he says something about his computer and he was like, he says like a plane crashed with a computer on it or something like that. And the guy's like, nothing is that big that's landed here.
Yeah, there's no computer.
And he's like,
there's no plane
things have changed since then.
No computer could fit on a plane. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, that's how it feels like, like that the idea, like how, like the way that we see technology now, I think like we always like now, we being the collective world, kind of fuck up how advanced technology is going to look. And it's all like, now it's like the only thing we can imagine beyond what we already have is like holograms. So everything is a hologram. And it's
been that for 20 fucking years by
Zoom.
Now. Yeah. Minority Report.
Yeah, exactly. So like how technology advances. Also, oh my God. And like, I'm totally getting off subject of Copycat, but.
Oh no.
And Charlie's Angels. Like
Which one?
The first, the movie, the film Charlie's Angels.
Which one?
The first one.
Well, there was one recently.
Oh no, the first, like from the year 2000 with Drew Barrymore and
Charlton
Cameron Diaz. So there's a scene where they're like, the whole point is that they're trying to keep this person from getting software that would turn everyone's cell phone into like what is it, like
a
tracking device. And they're like, oh my god, that means anyone with a cell phone could be tracked. And it was like this horrifying thing at the time, and now it's like literally everyone's location is just on at all times on their phone.
Isn't that
and
like the ethical crutch of whichever Batman movie?
Yeah. It's always like they will be able to find you wherever you are. And now it's like if someone like has location turned off on their phone, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She's got a tape backup, which means we can make a copy and take it with us.
Oh, God. How do you know about all this stuff?
Misspent youth in video arcades, I guess. A lot of quarters.
Why would he send this to you?
Why do you think?
Nobody's mentioned your involvement.
That's because there is no involvement. I am not involved. This is a game they play. They hang around the scenes, watching the cops, feeling superior to them, and instead of catching him there, you led him to me.
He didn't write to me. He wrote to you. Why?
Because I'm their damn pinup girl, that's why. They all know me. They have libraries, they collect clippings. I'm the fucking muse of serial killers.
Oh, shit. What?
No.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ba, 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 ba. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So we
just
took
talked
a
for
break.
like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we took a break because we had to pee, and then we hit record, and it was just like pause record. And it
you missed some good stuff.
I don't remember all of what I do. Oh, that was fun. We were just talking, like, but I mean, I guess it's just how we normally are. So that's all this podcast is. This podcast probably seems like we're like putting, or maybe not probably, but it might seem like we're putting on airs. But this is probably like.
So what kind of airs?
That we like each other.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Because, like, you know, there's that, like, stupid trope, like, when you're in a relationship with a person that seems heterosexual. That you hate each other. And and any kind of, like, you very rarely see, I think, a male assumed and woman assumed couple being like just chill with each other and not having those moments where they're like, you're an idiot and I'm always right.
Why do you have to always do this?
Yeah. Yeah. So people probably think we're
when we left this morning.
You said there were 8 cereal bars. I don't.
You want to go down your notes again? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
like
basically what you were doing.
I know. There's so many. I don't remember specifically.
Well, we were talking about crime
there
scene.
was one where they were talking. Yeah, but there was one where they were talking about like they were having like a discussion like as a cop how to be non-lethal in like taking someone down.
Oh yeah,
and there was like a
early on in.
Yeah,
well, it's our introduction to Holly
yeah,
Hunter
and
Mulroney,
Mulroney.
Where they're doing like a Hogan's Alley.
Yeah, and he's like very aggressive, and she's like, no, you have to be. Which by the end, I was like, oh, I get it, like because she just like
it comes up later,
blows everyone's head off. By the end, she's just like, yeah, I'm a cop, so who cares? I'm like, nah, that checks out. But yeah, they're having like this discussion about like how to like non-lethally like take someone down, and I was like, wow. Does
anybody else know about this?
Could a cop watch this? Maybe they don't know. Like, and so yeah, I was like, what? And I'm sure that like, I feel like that's a misconception people have that cops actually give a shit about,
anything.
Yeah. Like, so they'll write cops as people.
Well, to be fair, the majority of killings by police
oh yeah
are, I mean, of black people
yeah.
specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and white cops.
Yeah, and like,
they're not detectives.
that's fair. Yeah, I don't know if that's fair, but that's
Yeah, I don't either.
true.
However, on the big screen, it's usually detectives that do all the murdering.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. And they usually get some sort of like punishment.
Yeah, right.
in the movies.
In movies, there's usually
if
actually some kind of consequence.
If a cop accidentally shoots someone, he gets punished for it.
Well, and how many movies are specifically based on the premise that there's a cop who was trying to catch a killer and then ends up killing the wrong person, and then they're just devastated for like a decade. They're
Right.
just an alcoholic. And then they get
Like, oh,
somebody was like, "You worked on this case. Get back in the game, man."
They're like, you are a good cop. There's so much cop propaganda out there. It's gross.
There's even a term that's been coined, copaganda.
I was gonna say, is it propaganda? But yeah, there's one part in it where, in the beginning, where before like Harry Connick Jr. comes into the women's bathroom to do his comedy roast, where Sigourney Weaver's like, what turns you on, girl? And I'm like, Sigourney, I think you know.
Yeah, right. I know.
But also, I forgot. I didn't write this down, but I forgot about this, where she's like, just basically like shitting on white men, which is pretty great. She's like, did you know that like all serial killers are like white dudes?
Now, I'd like to ask you guys a favor. If you could all please stand up. All the gentlemen in the room, please indulge me for a second. Come on, it's only fair after all the time you spent ogling us. Now, would everybody under 20 and over 35 have a seat? And if you're of Asian or African American descent, you may sit down. Now, Kenny, can you turn that light on for us, please, so we can get a good look at these guys? All right, ladies, what do you see? Some pretty cute guys, don't you think? I mean, if one of these fellas asked you out for a drink, you'd go, wouldn't you? Well, let me tell you something. 9 out of 10 serial killers are white males, aged 20 to 35, just like these.
Okay, yeah, I'm like, that's cool. It's not something that people don't know, but I'm always like,
It's rarely named.
Right, I was
out
gonna
loud.
say, in the 90s, someone being like, white men are dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah, shout out Sigourney. Calling out white men. Yeah, but I was mentioning Holly Hunter's weird behavior in this, where like there's a bunch of like
Specifically
yeah.
at crime scenes.
Yeah, like there's one scene where she they're at a crime scene and she just like picks lint off of Dermot Mulroney's person and then throws it in the direction of the dead body at the crime scene. She just like legitimately like throw, and I'm like, what? Who wrote that? Who edited that? Who was
Well-
like, this makes sense that at a crime scene, two detectives would pick things off of each other and just throw them around like it's not.
To be fair, it was outdoors, and maybe they arrived late enough that all the
No, I think no, because the body was still there.
yeah.
So, from personal experience, I can tell you that if the body is still like, I
From
think
all your ride-alongs to homicide.
just from my experience being a witness to murder, the body being taken away is like the first thing that happens.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like they collect evidence, but then they take the body away and then
Sure.
they like look for things. Because I
Hence-
don't know
hence
necessarily.
the chalk outline.
No, the chalk outline only happens when they're still alive.
Really?
To make sure that like there's only a chalk outline, because like if they've died, then they can get all their photos and they can, they don't have any time.
Wow.
Yeah. So the chalk outline happens if they're alive and they don't know if they're gonna like, if they're
Live
still
or
alive.
die.
So, well, I mean, either way, like they chalk outline them so they know specifically where the person was and they can draw evidence from there.
Wow.
Hi.
Can't believe I didn't know that. That's good. That's the fact of this episode for me.
But yeah, so she like throws shit on the dead body.
How about that coffee cup?
And then then she's getting out of her. And like this is like the first crime scene that they pull up to in the movie, and she grabs her coffee cup from the car, takes it out of the car, and then sets it on the car, and then goes into the crime scene. And it's just like, I don't understand, like stuff like that where it's like it's very intentionally like it's done like consistently. Like
you're trying to hex me.
No, I can't think of the word. I'm trying to siphon the word out of your head.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like there's a, what do you call it? Like continuity. It's continuity. Like she has the coffee cup in the car. She gets out of the car with the coffee cup. She has it in her hand, and then she just sets it on the car. And I'm like, why have a coffee cup at all? Why? Like,
yeah.
And then she goes in, and then they never reference it again.
The timeline.
Yeah, right. I'm like, why? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I kind of liked it. I mean, I probably wouldn't have noticed it if you hadn't pointed it out. But people do shit like that.
I mean, that's fair.
Obviously, I imagine that.
But I mean, it would
Holly
be
Hunter
different.
just did that without thinking about it.
I think it would be different if like they kept showing her like doing weird shit, like setting her coffee cup down. But also that I want to know, there's one scene where Holly Hunter walks into her boss's office. He is smoking a cigarette, and she just walks over to him, removes the cigarette from his hands, and then puts it out. And like he doesn't seem to respond to it at all. It's like normal. And she's just like looking at him while she's doing this. Like, yeah, I'm putting your cigarette out. And I'm like, this is literally like a BDSM scene. Like, this is the start of like some shit about to happen. Like, there's nothing about this that is not. I mean, like, I know that I'm
the most actual sexual tension in any of the scenes, right. Even though there's another cop that she has history with. And there's all this,
like, I guess
they, won't they? With
right. Well, the Dermot Mulroney stuff is weird because everyone talks about it around them, but they seemingly have like zero, like, interest in each other when they're in the same room. They're just like, they just like actively don't hate each other, which seems to be the only thing that separates them from everyone else. And that's it. And people are like, so it's clear that you guys are fucking. And they're like, not yet. And then they're in the same car together and they're like, you smell bad. I don't like you. Can you die soon? And they're like, yep. You're gonna make sure of that.
Get a room already.
Like, what? I don't. And like, to be honest, they don't even have that many scenes together. Like, not like paired off.
Right, I know.
It's usually like with a bunch of other people and everyone being like, we can tell you guys are fucking. And I'm like, we can't. Is that why all this is written in there? Because we could not fucking tell for the life of us that anything was going on for them. But I did write down. Oh God, remember the police Murder by Numbers that played?
Yes.
I wrote down Sting. What? Why? What? I'm too high for this.
It's a very shocking.
It was so like
transition.
It did not make any sense. It wasn't even a transition. It's just like suddenly it starts playing and they're just like.
It's really jarring because what happens right before that? Something very heavy.
They're like, there's a note. And then it's like Murder by Numbers by the. I'm like, what the fucking shit?
And then it turns out, even though I think this is easy to miss, they're listening because it turns out it's.
Oh yeah, they're actually listening.
They're playing it to the room full of people on this case.
But it just seems like the sound, like it seems like a montage while they go over clues. That's how it's presented.
Yeah.
And then they like stop the tape player and they're like, "That's Murder by Numbers by the police." And I'm like, "What is this? Is this a radio program suddenly? Like, what is happening?" But it's like, I guess the note he left
DJ MJ.
The note he leaves at the crime, the crime scene or whatever is the lyrics to Murder by Numbers. Also, like when they're like, what does this mean? And she's like, well, it's clear what he's saying. I'm like, okay, it's clear he's quoting a fucking song. I don't necessarily know that you can decipher what the police meant. Like what?
Yeah. The band.
But I wrote down, oh God, remember the squirrel covers? He calls her underwear squirrel covers. Harry Connick
Did you
Jr.
see the
does.
trivia about this? Oh.
No, I didn't. I didn't read trivia about
The
it.
director asked Harry Connick to come up with a term for
my
ladies'
God.
undergarments,
Oh, God. Squirrel covers.
which he said like he heard his brother-in-law use. That's where he got it from.
Horrifying.
I also learned that because at one point, first of all, one of my main problems with the movie is like character inconsistencies as far as like
yeah.
Sigourney Weaver. I feel like is one of the more consistent characters.
Really?
And
I don't.
it's not that
But
consistent.
her consistency is just that like she's gonna freak out. That's
Right.
how you can
Right.
count on her for that.
She's alternately cranky and
Mm-hmm.
terrified. I don't know. Maybe it's just that she
I mean,
isn't
she
good at being like sardonic,
Yeah. Right.
which I think the character was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But at one point she says, one of the cops tells her to do something
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, Heil Hitler.
Right. I'm like, what?
And in the German release, the subtitles said, yes, boss. Instead.
They're like, oh yeah, we don't know what that.
Or I guess they would have had to overdub that because
Oh,
that's in
yeah.
German. So
Yeah, I was gonna say they would. How would they not know?
whoops.
So
Also, this is one of my notes. Even though this is set in San Francisco, every cop is from the East Coast somehow. I mean, Holly Hunter is obviously from somewhere in Appalachia
yeah. Well, yeah.
or the South.
Yeah. I kept making notes about this. It was very clearly, I think they like did a lot of stuff with Dermot Mulroney being like, oh, I'd fuck either one of you.
Right.
I'm horny for either one of you. I like you girls. And then being like, oh, okay, well, maybe. Because it really, really, really felt, if that wasn't in there, I'd be like, this is clearly a fucking lesbian movie. Like, it felt like a fucking gay movie. Like they hung out and they like were like.
Oh yeah, there was
Yeah.
one scene where I'm like, they're gonna get drunk
Yes,
and talk about.
yes, and I was like, all right. And the only reason I knew that didn't
Oh,
happen.
that's after Mulroney's character.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
gets
killed. Which why?
Yeah, it's like such a dumb, unnecessary like whole thing where it's just meant to make Holly Hunter feel bad for using non-lethal.
Right.
Like
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit. He gets refrigerated.
yeah, which I'm always like, oh, okay, when they do it to a guy, you know.
He was a shit character anyway.
Yeah. But yeah.
Can we talk about Andy?
I want to say this really quick though. As I was writing, why wasn't this a gay romance as like the movie ends? Because like Holly Hunter has just saved Sigourney Weaver's life, and like Sigourney Weaver's just like walking towards Holly Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Again, obviously
Yeah.
lesbian romance. And Keith said, hey, you want to go get some finger blasts? So as I was writing, why wasn't this a gay romance?
Forgot about that.
You said,
That's the rooftop
hey, you
scene,
want
right?
to go get some finger blood? Yeah, the rooftop. Like literally
Climax.
walking towards Holly Hunter on a rooftop, and it's not like a
I know.
lesbian. What the fuck? Like I don't.
And
Yeah.
She just presses
Yeah.
her tiny face
Their
into her
height
bosom.
difference. There's so much that like, oh my god, like Holly Hunter's clearly a dom, and Sigourney Weaver clearly needs someone to come in and tell her what she needs to do and just make her feel better
See,
about things. So like it would just make
can
so much
with-
fucking sense.
This happened on the Harry and the Hendersons episode.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you go back and forth about who's the dom.
How?
Well, you just said earlier that Holly Hunter's character was doming her boss.
I know. I said Holly Hunter needs to dom Sigourney Weaver,
Oh.
who needs to be told what to do. I didn't go back and
My
forth.
fault.
I didn't go back and forth, man.
I apologize.
Thank you. Oh my god, though, but I read the fucking literal ending, like the as credits are rolling, and it's just Harry Connick Jr.'s face for like 5 fucking minutes.
Oh yeah.
And it just,
That's
and I was
amazing.
like expecting John Candy to just pop up and start waving because it just lasted so fucking long. It was too long. I was like, there's no fucking reason.
No such thing.
And I swear to God, they looped the
It just-
footage.
no,
swear.
they don't. I swear they don't.
I swear because it looks like they
Can you get this back and
it
backwards?
go yeah his mouth like moves like, but I think they looped it longer, and then they would loop it short. Like I think they would like so that because he didn't blink in but like sometimes I swear it would loop and he would blink, and sometimes it would loop and he wouldn't. So I think that they like had I think that they had like a full minute of footage, and they would just like loop 30 seconds of it, and then they would loop the full minute, and then they would just keep I think. It was so weird though. It was so weird.
It was.
Because I was watching it, and I'm all about that detail, and it legitimately just looked like he kept doing the same behavior over and over, and I was like, nobody has the ability on that short of a loop to consistently do the same exact thing. Like it would change.
Jeff Glassman.
Yes.
Shout out.
Anyway, I think that's all my notes. But really, it should have been a gay romance.
I wanted to talk about Andy, who is Sigourney Weaver's live-in.
Oh yeah, like
helper.
Was he supposed to be like her ex-husband or something?
I don't think so. I think they set us up right at the beginning to make us think that they're together, and then surprise, he's gay.
Right.
Because it's San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Played by John Rothman, who I think is his name. Z spotted before I did.
Yeah,
as,
I recognized his
playing
Tig Notaro's papa.
Stepdad,
yeah.
On One Mississippi.
Yeah.
And
very
he's great
good.
on that.
He's great. That's a great show.
He does all right with Andy. Clearly not given much to work with.
Right. I think for honestly, for it being like, obviously he's like tokenized, you know, the gay or whatever, you know, and it is tragic gay or whatever. But like, I feel like he does great. Like he's just like a loving character. Like he's not like, girlfriend, what are you doing in that get up? He's not like, and they basically only like are like, he's a homosexual, so you don't think that they're in a couple, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't think it's ever explicitly stated. You just see
except for him being like going out on a date with someone or whatever.
Yes. and going to the sound factory and getting served fucking pina coladas or whatever. It looks like the bar is great. It looks like it's designed by Kate Pearson from B-52s.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, like...
Also, what's his name? The killer's name is Peter Foley or whatever. William McNamara. Mm-hmm. I thought he looked like Daniel Jackson off of Stargate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I thought that was not great casting.
It didn't make a lot of sense. Oh, also, FYI, I don't know. You probably didn't notice this because you haven't seen it before, but he's in the crowd. He's very visibly in the crowd when she's giving the speech at the beginning. The killer is
I'm not surprised. I didn't notice that. I did see him in... There's another scene where he's hanging out in the PD.
Right, the one where he goes, hey!
Hello. Yeah, he just...
And just like waves at them, and they're like, what the fuck are
After that, though, there's a great shot where he's like, just for whatever reason, you can see through a doorway behind...
He's just like staring at that. It's so... And like, I know that they're doing that to emphasize, because like sometimes like serial killers like to, you know, like... Yeah. Basically, like, get friendly with cops just to prove that cops are stupid. And, like, make themselves feel, like, all hard or whatever because they don't know that it's me. But, like, at the same time, it's like, if I'd never seen this movie before, and suddenly there's just a scene with a guy being like, hey, at the cops, and then just him like very visibly, and I'd be like, well, he's the killer.
Right. I know.
I mean, I would say they didn't, I don't feel like they hid that though.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they were like,
the reveal or
I don't
whatever.
know. Yeah.
What the thing that serves as a reveal happens less than halfway through the movie?
Oh yeah. Also the weird, he's married or has a girlfriend or whatever. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I don't know what is this? Why?
Like, I love when they do shit like that. It's always like really weird to me when they show like a guy's like, you know, oh, he's totally dominated by his girlfriend. That's why he's a serial killer. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he ended up fucking killing her in the end. I'm like, okay, well, obviously he wasn't that humiliated by her.
And the small dog. That was unnecessary.
Well, yeah.
Peter! I've been calling and calling. Didn't you hear me? You completely forgot about him, didn't you?
very thirsty virtue, my little sweetie. Come on. Are you teasing me? Naughty little boy. What are you doing? Want to watch Letterman with me?
Well, I could, darling, but...
You know I don't watch talk shows on my own.
I know. It's just, I'm right in... I mean, I've got
Go
this...
on. Go back to your silly little computers.
So, things I liked about the movie, it's an interesting premise that you have a killer, like the thing with Peter Foley is that each murder he does is in the style of
a different
historical serial killer.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting.
I do, yeah.
I wish they'd sort of played that up more.
Yeah.
It's it feels like Harry Connick Jr.'s character is going to be a bigger part of the movie than he is. And he sort of is a bigger part than he is.
But not. Yeah, it doesn't.
He's given so much.
Yeah. Talk time.
Not even that.
They talk about him so much.
The few scenes that he's in are like a big deal.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that like he's literally like his insertion into Sigourney Weaver's life has made her like incapable of living a normal life.
Right.
And then when they have like a video chat where let me just say the technology for this video chat was ahead of its time. They got
Obviously.
they got that right.
The video quality was
impeccable. But she's just like, you know, like talking to him and just like at first she's like, I don't think I can do this, and Holly Hunter's like, it's fine, I'll do the talking, and I'm like, okay, you know, and then he's just like, can I have your squirrel kivers? And she's like, look here, mister, which color? And I'm like, what? She's just like having a conversation with him, like, what color of my panties do you want me to send you?
Yeah.
With a little kiss on him.
She
like,
gets on the mic just because he's like, I want to talk to her.
Yeah, and she's just like,
hey.
She's like, what's up, buddy? And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah, it doesn't, like...
Because she's like literally, before the call even happened, she's like pacing and like biting her fingers, and she's just like, and I'm like, accurate. And then like, he's like, hey, and she's like, oh, hey, what's up, friend? I miss you. Like, what? Yeah. I think maybe they were trying to say like, you know, like, as much as she was afraid, she handles it better than she thinks she was. But that was not how it came across. That's not how it came. It came across like she just forgot who he was and was like, you look fun. You want to hang out sometime? Like, also the weird part at the end where she's like, because she's agoraphobic and she literally cannot leave her apartment without like, basically, like she can't even like walk out the front door of her apartment. # can relate.
Right.
And but like she like he takes her to like the lecture hall where she like into the bathroom where she was when like Harry Connick Jr. like at the end, like the serial killer is like copying Harry Connick Jr. And he takes her to this place and she's just like running through the halls and everything, and it's not until she gets to the roof and opens it and she's like, I can't go outside. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I feel like that would happen. Like she would just be like outside and then she'd be like, shit, what like it would happen maybe when she got like closer to the edge of the I don't know, I just felt like that felt inconsistent, that she like forgot she was like, I'm like, I feel like to a degree, like as scary as it is, like when like I'm someone that has like severe anxiety, like I'm not speaking from a place of like, here's how I think anxiety is, like I have severe like multiple anxiety disorders, so like I feel like when you're in that fight or flight situation, like that's what anxiety is. Anxiety is like fight or flight all the time. So when you are in those situations, right, you're like, I know what to do.
Yeah. Like, no, totally.
You're like, I got this. Like, it's fine. I'm not that worried. Like people think,
finally,
yeah,
there's a reason.
This
to be
is
this
exactly why I've been freaking out for my entire life, to prepare for this fucking moment. So I felt like that. I mean, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, yeah, okay, whoever wrote this has like actually no idea what anxiety is like, or like whoever filmed it or something.
It's confusing because her agoraphobia really seems to be a symptom of her PTSD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
That's a specific combo, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't say if my I mean, I do feel like I've always had like a slight tendency towards agoraphobia. Yay.
Apparently, Harry Connick watched a bunch of documentaries on serial killers.
Right, so he could prepare for this comedy role that he's in. Yep.
Sigourney Weaver consulted forensic psychologist Park Dietz, who had interviewed Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wow.
This is for you. I thought you'd appreciate this. In the final climactic scene where the Peter Foley has recreated, he's reenacting Cullum's attack on her. When she has the turn where she was like, you little piece of, whatever she says, where she starts to be like, you're nothing or whatever. And she spits on him.
Yeah.
Unscripted, improvised. And so his response is,
hell yeah. Love that shit.
I knew you would like that.
Sigourney. I didn't know. That's awesome though, because I like that. I mean, like, it's always like the fact that like it's a woman, it's a woman doing that kind of stuff. And like, it's a very like role where she's like being hurt and being like, in fear of her life. And like in that moment, she's like taking, and I could honestly like, even if Sigourney like in real life has like no trauma, I can see how just filming that would be kind of scary. So like in that moment, taking that power, like that's really awesome. But like you always hear shit like that from like male
directors doing shit to
right, men being like
actors.
Like, well, I had this person tied up and I was supposed to be like about to like sexually assault them, so I thought, why not tell them that I killed their cat? I just wanted to get a real reaction from them. And you're always like, that's not not improvising, that's not acting, it's just being abusive. But like, so like in a situation like that, like it really seemed like like where she was like, I'm trying to take any power that I can.
Yeah.
So that was like, that's really awesome. That's cool. I enjoy that.
It made me think of the sequence in Mandy.
Which sequence in Mandy? Oh God.
Well, when they drug her and he's like showing off. And,
yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Fucking laughing at it.
Oh God. That's a movie. Oh my God.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's just like naked in front of her and she starts laughing. Oh, but yeah, that's pretty impressive. Anyway, that's all I have. I think that's all I have about it. Other than, I think honestly, like what I liked about it was that it seemingly felt like women, like in the end, like the women survived and the women were the ones with all of the power and the women were like reclaiming themselves. Yeah.
But it feels accidental, and I wish it didn't. To me, I don't feel like that was an intention of the movie.
Oh, not necessarily the intention, but I like that. I like that they didn't, it wasn't, because I feel like if it
wasn't
especially
like in your face.
Well, because if it was the 90s, yeah.
Reboot?
No, I liked the Black Christmas reboot, but I think if it had been done on purpose, especially in the 90s, it would have been like, there would have been, it would have just been like, they would have literally said out loud, like, we got our power back.
It would have been Spice World.
Hey, you've never seen that.
That's true.
So you can't say, that's a great film. That's a great film, and we're going to watch that.
No, I'm not saying shit.
Oh.
I'm not putting down Spice World.
Equalization of the sexes.
I'm just thinking about how third wave feminism got co-opted in the 90s. That's all.
Yeah. But I felt like it allowed what I'm saying about it, the accidental aspect of it being fine, was that it felt like it treated two female characters like two characters, not like women, you know. Yeah. It allowed them to be fuck ups, to get it wrong,
and surprisingly,
to make mistakes, and still succeed in the end. But it didn't feel like, the intention was to like to empower women, not because that's wrong, but because like in the 90s that was like it. So often when people try to make empowering films, it's just insulting.
Right.
So like the fact that they felt like actual characters, and like it's not a perfect movie, and there's like a lot of like ridiculousness in it, and of course there's like a ton of like sexual assault and shit like that in the movie. Like all of the victims are sexually assaulted, I think.
Okay, but it's not on camera.
No, not on camera, but I mean like it's referenced, and they're like women die, like it's not a perfect film.
However, I was just thinking, I didn't think about this while watching it. There's no, our main characters, that threat is never made explicit. I mean, it's
like
you can say it's
sexual assault.
explicit
Yeah.
in
Well,
everything,
I don't
but
know. I mean, maybe not explicit, but he does like rip her clothes and stuff like that, and he's like he is undressing her and stuff like that. So like that's maybe not in like
it's true.
It's implied that they could be, especially since
I was just thinking that if you're gonna have a thriller where it's about a man who kills women specifically, almost always there's gonna be someone down to their underwear, getting chased with a knife. Or
tied up and then being
gun held
like
at their crotch
their
or some
hands
shit.
all over their body and shit like that, and you're like, you didn't have to do that, but you did it anyway. Cool, yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry.
That's not your fault. I don't know why that happens.
I just like that you're watching me, and it's always the word "but." You're like, ah!
It's so plosive. You hit those B's so hard,
baby.
Yeah. Baby.
Well, that's all I have to say about it. I've said that 15 times.
That's good for me. I gotta pee again, so.
Yeah, right on. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
Catch us on this podcast.
No, that's.
What?
Catch us
elsewhere, too.
Catch you when we catch you. Unless you catch us first.